So we have a pretty rare severe event unfolding across the Pacific Northwest today. Plus, we're looking at the potential for some severe weather as we head into now what would be Sunday and into Monday. We're going to talk about that in the video today. So thanks for stopping by. Let's start off with what's going on across the Pacific Northwest. Also, what's going on around the rest of the country too. We've got a little bit of snow here into the Northeast today. Some colder weather moving through this part of the world and the country. Temperatures on the way down too into the Great Lakes, also into the Mid-Atlantic with this broad northwest flow. Warmer temperatures though across the west as an upper level ridge builds in, but we do have a strong disturbance moving in to the Pacific Northwest with a pretty decent layer of winds aloft. That's going to really get things going this afternoon with some severe weather heading into tonight. The time above my head is going to be Eastern time, so take 3 hours off if you're on the West Coast. That severe weather expected as we head into the afternoon and evening. Let's dig into that just a little bit, and then we'll get back to the forecast for the rest of the country. This is an interesting look here. This is a hashed out area here across the Pacific Northwest for that severe weather. The highest risk overall, if you look at this, it does include Portland, Seattle, other areas of the Pacific Northwest impacted. Could see some damaging winds, some hail today. That's another problem. And I'm not going to say there's a huge tornado risk, but there certainly is a risk of seeing some severe weather. Tacoma, also as far north as Vancouver, Salem, Oregon, all these areas under the risk for some strong damaging winds, some hail, and an isolated tornado also possible. And when you look at that tornado risk, while it's not extremely high, it's not every day that you see this risk in Seattle. So be weather aware, have a way to get any types of warnings as this strong piece of energy moves ashore. And that risk also extends pretty far inland too. It does include Boise, so we could see some strong damaging winds here as well, and maybe even some hail. Timing some of this precipitation out, we'll start here in the Pacific Northwest, and then we'll go back to the national outlook. As we head into this would be 5 p.m. West Coast time. You can see some of these storms really starting to pick up, even as far south as Northern California and Oregon, as we head toward that 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m. timeline locally. Again, the time is Eastern above me. And some of these supercells, because of the environment that they're going to be in with that really strong jet max swinging through, that's that really strong core of winds aloft, you could get some pretty decent storms going here. And then that all starts to settle down into tonight. As the cold air rushes in, we see the rain change over to some snow. So that's a quick look at the Northwest severe outlook. There could also be a few strong storms across parts of Texas. Into the Northeast today, we're dealing with some snow showers. Again, we showed you those that just a closer look on the national outlook, and that will start to wrap up as we head through the evening into the morning hours as some cold air aloft moves into this part of the country. Temperatures today, cold into the 20s early this morning. I know it's a chilly start here, but we will warm up as we head into the afternoon some. Not a lot. Don't expect a big change. We're talking about 20s and 30s for highs. Even as far south as D.C., we're knocked back into the 40s for a good chunk of the day. We may top out into the 50s as we move into the afternoon. Further to the south, a little bit of snow overnight into the mountains of West Virginia. Most of that settling down as we move through today. Colder air, snow showers into parts of Pennsylvania into the mountains. Otherwise, just a few showers here across parts of Mississippi, Alabama, back into Louisiana and Texas too. No major severe weather expected with this. And then another weak disturbance swings through parts of Ohio, West Virginia, parts of Maryland. It could bring a few more rain and snow showers. And then we're watching a warm front lift north. This right here could bring a few more rain showers and thunderstorms as we move into Thursday. Temperatures today, not very warm the further north and east you go. We're talking about 40s and 50s across the Ohio Valley. But move south and we're back up into the 60s and 70s, close to 80. Spring is on across the south. The pollen count going up. Off the charts, as some would say in the chat. Yes, absolutely. It's that time of year, and spring is definitely on with these temperatures. As we head into tomorrow, it could be even warmer, and we do start to see that warming trend shift a little bit further back to the north. A quick look around the Great Lakes region. The snow, again, we've talked about that moving off to the east, those snow showers and flurries. There could be a few bursts of snow with some of the cold air aloft that's moving through. Otherwise, a few light rain showers possible down toward the coast here, and then back across the Ohio Valley into the Great Lakes, into Michigan and Wisconsin. Relatively dry. A weak disturbance swings through Canada. That could bring some snow showers to parts of Ontario, and then a few more rain showers back across Missouri, even as far south as Kentucky and Tennessee, maybe by the time we get toward Thursday. Temperatures here today starting off cold. I mean, look at this, near or below zero in parts of the UP of Michigan. Warming up today back into the 30s, where we started off in the single digits. We've got 40s and 50s and 60s to the south. This will start to work a little bit further to the north as we head into tomorrow, so highs will modify some and moderate, I guess. All right, as we move into today, some heavy rain possible here across North Texas toward the Louisiana border, Texarkana, and in northern Louisiana. And there could be some severe weather here too into South Texas as we head into the afternoon and evening hours, with some big hail possible with some of these strong storms that may form right along the Rio Grande. That continues into the overnight, some heavy rain, and then another risk of severe weather across South Texas, I think, as we head into tomorrow. And I think it could be more widespread across this part of the country. High temperatures today, hot in some areas. Maybe not as hot as we've seen across South Texas just because of the clouds, but we're back up into the 70s and 80s here across North Texas, and the 70s spread way north now. We're up into Nebraska, all the way up into the Dakotas here. Look at this. The highs today should top out into the upper 70s, maybe, possibly. I don't know that we get quite that warm. More likely low to mid 70s as far north as parts of South Dakota. Pierre could be in the 70s today, so beautiful weather here, but some upper 70s maybe right here along the eastern border of Colorado, west Nebraska, also west Kansas. Precipitation, didn't mean to skip over that here, relatively dry through today. A few light showers, maybe some snow showers possible on the northern periphery of this weak system that's sliding through. Otherwise, relatively dry. Some weak, really light snow moving across the Canadian border as we head toward Thursday and Friday. And then we're watching the weekend system that could bring some snow to this part of the country. How this all evolves, still to be determined. Across the southwest, which we've not talked about just quite yet, relatively dry here. There goes our strong storm into the Pacific Northwest, which we started the video out about today. Most of that going north of here, so we're relatively dry. A few showers may try to sneak into northern Arizona and parts of Colorado as we head toward Friday and Saturday. And then as some colder air moves in, a better chance, I think, of some snow across the Wasatch into the Rockies here heading into the weekend. And then we're watching another storm across the west coast. This could bring a more significant snow into the Sierra, into the mountains of northern California as we head into Sunday. So let's take a broad look at the country. We haven't really looked at everything overall here in the video today. We'll sort of let this roll pretty quickly. We've talked about all these events pretty close up, but you get the idea of that strong storm into the west. There goes that weak disturbance right along that boundary of that Arctic air. That could bring some interesting weather here as we head toward Friday and Saturday. On the northern side of this, we could see some freezing rain, maybe some snow too, and it could get heavy, I think. So watch out here into the northeast. Let's keep an eye on Vermont, New Hampshire. And then as we head into the weekend too, we're going to see a lot of moisture here across the south. Temperatures on the way up, and then we're watching this low as it kicks east. This would be the severe threat heading into the weekend. Still a little early to get into all of the details, but the risk for some strong damaging winds, some hail, and it's the time of year when you've got to watch out for tornadoes too. So we'll be watching that severe weather threat as we head through Saturday, really into Sunday. That looks to me, at least at this point, the European, this is the timeline, at least in my mind, when I think we would see the strongest storms developing on the backside of this as a cold front moves through, and then that pushes into the south. Most of your dynamics are going north here. However, the instability is probably going to be a little bit stronger here with some warmer temperatures across the deep south. So a timeline to watch. Again, the Storm Prediction Center, not crazy off the charts with that severe outlook on Sunday. If you remember last time, they had a more of a highlighted area embedded within this long-range severe outlook. So keep an eye on things. Again, this would be Sunday, and then it shifts east into Monday and also a little bit further to the south. I'll be watching it. If you're brand new, thanks for coming over. I'm Travis. I used to be a chief meteorologist on TV years and years ago. But now, been doing these videos on YouTube. I've been out of that business for many years. So if you're looking for a weather source, if you're a weather geek like me, I hope you'll come back and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a great Wednesday wherever you are. See you next time.